What's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Rockstar's statement of the day. It continues to just get views. They could post like anything, literally anything on social media, and it would get like 5 to 10 million views. But they posted this tweet, and let's just jump right to it. They said, Grand Theft Auto 6's Trailer 2 was captured entirely in-game from a PS5, comprised of equal parts gameplay and cutscenes. And then they just reposted the trailer. There's a lot of very, very funny, I would say, responses to that of just, them kind of putting people in their place. Look, there's almost two things to talk about here, right? One is the PS5 part, which is not shocking. We actually talked about that. That was part of my video yesterday. At the end of the trailer, it literally says it was captured on PS5. And as I said yesterday, I mean, I highly respect that. Not for like picking a side necessarily, but for doing base PS5, because they could have done PS5 Pro. There was nothing that was stopping them, especially if they are leaning PlayStation, right? If they have a marketing deal or whatever, it actually probably makes more sense from PlayStation's perspective to have them push the PS5 Pro so people buy the PS5 Pro. So from that side alone, that's pretty crazy. And then, just to have all of this stuff going on PS5, there's a couple different, places out there. I think Digital Foundry being one of them too, that's done some kind of deep dives into it. And look, we'll see what it looks like at the end of the day, but I really feel, I think the statement of like their way of handling systems and their way of just handling these things in general are miles ahead of most other publishers and developers. Okay, so, we'll see what happens at the end of the day. As I said, I mean, things could technically even get better than what we saw because it's already gotten better from the first trailer to the second trailer, but there's that confirmation. Don't know if they needed to do that because, of the thing yesterday, but I guess it does put to bed, did they mean PS5 Pro? Did they lie about it? Was it misleading? No, I mean, they said it was on PS5, and now they kind of just say it just outright it's on PS5. And then I would say probably the biggest part of this entire thing is the whole half and half. That's incredible. That's when we looked at it yesterday, the only time that I thought that they were actually messing around with gameplay is that Jason scene that we talked about in yesterday's video where the camera kind of follows him as he's walking into his house, right in the very, very beginning of the trailer. And that very much mirrors not just Red Dead 2, really like PS4 and Xbox One era on a lot of camera tricks of like transitioning between cutscene to gameplay started to pop up, right? We didn't really have that in the PS3 360 era, but then we started to get after, and it was those kind of clever camera tricks of transitioning from cutscene to gameplay. That's the only time I really thought we were in it. Now, I imagine there's like, and I don't know how to really explain this. Like when they say gameplay, do they literally mean like second to second, like you're walking around, or like, is there a way, I imagine there is, especially, with them, where you can kind of just take the world and take what's happening kind of organically around it, pause it or let it play out and pull the camera away to show it from like different angles than what you would actually get in the game. Almost like an enhanced photo mode or a photo mode, but just in video, right? I don't know if I'm explaining that perfectly, but regardless, it's honestly insane because that's really, I think, the response that we're seeing from it, because so many people, including myself, were like, all right, well, I mean, we said it. Now, I've been a little bit more optimistic where it's like, I trust that when we do see gameplay, it's going to be very similar, and I don't think they're just going to show us a bunch of high-res, high-whatever things, and then it's going to look like complete garbage, when the game actually is playable, or they show it being playable. But, a lot of people were kind of doubtful. For a game as big as this, you're going to have skeptics, and I think rightfully so. Some people are going to be skeptical, but this really, I feel like, helps them, right? Where you take your pick at where you think that they were doing cutscenes versus gameplay, because your guess is better than mine, right? I thought there was one scene in the entire, 2+ minute trailer that was gameplay. I guess it was like a minute plus of it. Maybe like when Jason's driving and we talked about this yesterday, right? With the ray tracing of like the window, like his side mirror type thing. They hover on that for actually a considerable amount of time, like 3-4 seconds, which, okay, not too long, but in a trailer, it is long. That feels like it could also be gameplay, again, where you're kind of pulling the camera and putting it somewhere that in the game it's not going to be there, right? So, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of moments in the game, where, like in the trailer, where, like now thinking about hindsight being 2020, like what scenes could have been, maybe some of the hovering shots or like aerial shots could have been like when you're actually piloting something and they take the camera and move it. It's got to be something, because they're not going to lie about that, putting it out there. So there's got to be way, way, way more scenes in that were gameplay versus cutscene that we originally thought were only cutscene. But I think it continues to just go to show, like, this thing is going to be pretty freaking special. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.